In what may be the final nail in the coffin for many decent people's respect for international institutions, the top prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, the ICC, applied for arrest warrants for Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, and his defense minister this week, alleging that they were responsible for war crimes and crimes against humanity.
Today, we underline in the clearest possible fashion that international law and the laws of armed conflict apply to everyone.
ICC prosecutor Karim Khan there. He took this move at the same time as seeking charges against Hamas leaders, as if to imply that he's being fair and balanced, as if there's some kind of moral equivalence between the elected government of a democracy that participates in the international community as a normal functional partner and a brutal terrorist organisation that managed to threaten its way to power in a small regional government. Let's be clear, there isn't. And if you know someone who even thinks for 1 second that there could possibly be a moral equivalence between the Israeli government and Hamas, then it's time to suggest to them that they need to rejoin the real world, study some world history, some global affairs and some international relations. Even wishy-washy old Joe Biden was having none of it.
Whatever these warrants may imply, there is no equivalence between Israel and Hamas. What's happening is not genocide. We reject that. We will always stand with Israel and the threats against its security.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak swiftly agreed.
Well, this is a deeply unhelpful development. Of course, it's still subject to a final decision, but it remains deeply unhelpful nonetheless. There is no moral equivalence between a democratic state exercising its lawful right to self-defense and the terrorist group Hamas.
UK PM Rishi Sunak. Germany, France, Austria, Poland and the Czech Republic all issued similar condemnations very quickly. Even Canada's Peter Pan PM Justin Trudeau seems to get it.
Obviously, the International Criminal Court is independent in its work, and I've said from the very beginning how important it is that everyone respect and abide by international law. What I will say is troubling, though, is the sense of an equivalency between the democratically elected leaders of Israel and the bloodthirsty terrorists that lead up Hamas. I don't think that's helpful.
But in what must be the greatest example of Anthony Albanese's lack of any leadership capability or spine or commitment to the traditional liberal democratic order and the Western world and his ability to stand up to it, our Prime Minister put us to shame. He did not have the moral backbone or just the basic decency to make a strong statement. He made no comment and then ran for cover. Here's how the ABC reported that Tuesday.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said he would not comment on a case that was before court.
We are concentrating, playing a role where we can in promoting the right of both Israelis and Palestinians to live in security, in peace and with prosperity.
It all sounds very nice, but it actually says nothing. The Prime Minister said he would not comment on a case that was before the International Criminal Court. Why? Every other democratic world leader spoke out. Ireland and Denmark were quite supportive of the ICC in their statements, but they still raised eyebrows at the hint of a moral equivalency between Israel and Hamas. And there is no convention that cases before the ICC are beyond critique or commentary. The ICC only exists by convention and loose agreement. It's an intergovernmental international tribunal that's seated in The Hague in the Netherlands. It was set up in 2002. Its Wikipedia entry says that it's the first and only permanent international court with jurisdiction to prosecute individuals for the international crimes of genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and the crimes of aggression. And that's different to the International Court of Justice, which is an organ of the United Nations that hears disputes between states. Supporters of the ICC say that its existence is a major step towards justice. But some governments have refused to recognise it and some accuse it of bias, Eurocentrism and racism. Could that be why they're so keen to create the appearance of moral equivalence between a Western-style liberal democracy like Israel and a terrorist organisation like Hamas? If so, there lies the big problem here. We have just got to stop with this, oh, we're all equal, we're all the same. No, we aren't. Modern Western liberal democracies are the most advanced civilizations and have the most just systems of government and courts and rule of law ever known to mankind. And we have to stand up for them and all of that, or we will lose it. We're not just like those Gazans and Hamas. Liberal democracy is not a club you just leap into either. Centuries of thought and blood went into building what we enjoy today. So there is no equivalency. Sorry. Sure, we aren't perfect by far, and we shouldn't get arrogant or full of hubris, and we need to act respectfully and morally towards other countries. But our systems, our processes, our rule of law, they are superior. I'm sorry, equality-obsessed lefties. There is a hierarchy. There are good and bad things and better and best things in the world. And if these global organisations keep behaving the way they do, then the resurgence of nationalism that we're starting to see gets stronger, and people will just walk away from all of these supranational bodies, which might be a big shame. But then again, if they continue to act like this, maybe not.